Alright, part 3 of chapter 11. And the section of the, what was it, the E3 demo, if I remember right. Now, I actually had a point where, driving down the roads here, I went a way that I wasn't supposed to, and the tank actually knocked me into an enclosed area where I couldn't like get out of, and I just had to die and reload the checkpoint. It was one of those weird things where I had almost got ahead of the tank before I was supposed to, and he just like slammed me into this like enclosed area and I couldn't move. It's pretty much like where the tank is now. I was stuck in that little area there, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't like get around it or anything, so I just had to die and reload the checkpoint. It was kind of shitty because I never would have thought that something like that could happen, but it did. And that's something that I don't know if it was just the way the checkpoint put me, but every time I would reload that checkpoint, the tank was always slamming into me before the scene had like completely loaded in. So that was kind of annoying editing wise, just because of that. And but once you get up to here, you're pretty much safe. But the next part coming up when you're eventually getting dragged in the mud on the crane. That part on hard was kind of tough, but it wasn't too bad since you could take a lot of damage. But on crushing, you will more than likely die a bunch of times during the next part once we get there, just because you can't shoot and kill the guys quick enough, and especially if there's still the guy that's on the back of the truck, you're dealing with him shooting down you at the same time, and you can't just like move up the rope to get to the back of the vehicle in time, because all the other vehicles around you are shooting at you and you're dying super quickly. So that whole sequence I was stuck on for probably about 45 minutes, just because I could not kill the guys fast enough, or kill enough of them fast enough where I could finally get onto the vehicle to get the checkpoint. It was the first real point playing through this on crushing where the game was actually giving me like a ton of trouble. And there's a couple chapters later on where unfortunately something that I kind of wanted to avoid doing, but there's at least 3 sequences later on in the game where I had to switch on infinite ammo because I just could not deal with the amount of enemies that the game was throwing at me and the very low amount of ammo and weapons that I could get to try and survive. So there's only like 3 points where I had to switch on infinite ammo, but I don't know, there are parts that with enough time and patience you could probably get through it without having to do that. But for my situation, I was just not getting the ammo and the guns that I needed, and it just got really frustrating. So I can tell you that they were the second half of the elevator sequence in chapter 17, because of the shitty checkpoint they put you at. Probably the shittiest checkpoint in the entire game. All of the other checkpoints, like in some of the battles, completely fair, but that particular checkpoint, when you are on the rock structure before the final part with like the heavy shotgunner, shittiest checkpoint in the entire game, unfortunately. The second point is in chapter 18 in the mansion. Just an insane amount of guys, very little cover. The grenade spam is intense in that part. And the third part was the ship graveyard. Again, lack of cover, grenade spam, and the amount of enemies, and the fact that you don't have any checkpoint when the two heavy machine gunners show up, so you have to do that all in one go. And it just, other than those three sequences, no real issue with the difficulty. And this is the sequence that I was stuck on for 45 minutes. Like, getting to this truck, I was stuck on for like 45 minutes, just because I just couldn't kill the guys quick enough. I couldn't kill enough of them quick enough, and I couldn't get to the vehicle in time before I would just die. But eventually I finally got lucky enough where I took out enough of the guys where I was finally able to make it to that vehicle. Got the checkpoint and then immediately died, but I was happy because I didn't have to redo that whole sequence again. But other than that part, the rest of this really isn't too bad. Since this last part, you're just dealing with a bunch of the motorcycle guys, and you can just play demolition derby with them, and it's really not too difficult. These guys, when they jump on there, you can just, I believe, like, if you hit Y when they get up to you, you just, like, counter them and throw them off. You can also, like, slam into, like, a building, like a structure like that, and you'll knock them off. But, once you get up here and you get the little cinematic with Sam, and need to get out of the vehicle. The whole end sequence when you're getting chased by the truck is pretty much just like the beginning sequence of Chapter 5 in Uncharted 2, but on like steroids, because it's like a heavy armored tank and you're just unloading on it with a submachine gun pistol. But you have infinite ammo, so it's super easy. And that pretty much does it for Chapter 11. And I will see you in Chapter 12.